This is Casino Trac's Winners Club training.
Okay.
We're going to be walking her through the basic Casino Trac processes and procedures that a standard GSA, Guest Service Ambassador, is going to be utilizing. Our line level employees are called GSAs, or Guest Service Ambassadors. They report to our GSMs, our Guest Service Managers. A couple of key definitions that we need to talk about is the Winners Rewards Club. The Winners Rewards Club is our club card. That club card is able to be used at the Carson Nugget, Nevada Nuggets, and the Delta Saloon in Virginia City. TITO is how all of our floors do run. TITO stands for Ticket In and Ticket Out. It gives the ability to transfer from machine to machine without having to wait for hand pays or the old coin like you had to. W2Gs is a federal form for income taxes of earnings won from gaming. 1042Ss are also a federal form for earnings, but for international travelers. To begin with, when you do come into your job, we're going to start off with how you log in with Casino Trac. So when you first sign in, you're going to be logging in with an assigned code. Typically, it's your team member ID. So to begin with, when you open up Casino Trac, you're going to sign in with your team member ID and your password. Your password is yours to remember. It does require to be changed every 90 days. What I recommend for your passwords are going to be a common 6 or 8 character word, your favorite word that you have out there, then a symbol and the number 1. So as an example, password at 1 meets those requirements, because in 90 days, you can go to password at 2, password at 3, all the way down to 0, and then you go up 1, password number 1, password number 2, password number 3, and you have that password forever. Once you log in, you land on your standard homepage, and that allows you to navigate through the Winners Club. You are now logged in and you're ready to work for your day. If it is your first time logging in, it may ask you for your terminal number. Be sure to get that terminal number from your supervisor. Typically, it is Terminal 1, unless you're at the Carson Nugget in the pit or Keno. When you are signing in to do your TITOs and redeem the TITOs for the patrons, your bank number is also number 1 more times than not. That's how you sign in. Yay. Next, we're going to talk about how you sign up a player. When a patron walks up and they're wanting to sign up for a card for the first time, you're going to ask them for their ID. It has to be a driver's license, one that's state issued and agreed upon, approval by the Gaming Control Board. Most all state IDs do meet that requirement. Passports, the books do not, as well as international driver's license. It has to be either a US driver's license or a passport card. When you first start your day, when you start your shift, I would recommend verifying that your computer is signed in and ready to go. The one thing that does happen commonly is that the photo ID directory might get disconnected. If you click on the folder icon on the start menu on the taskbar, on the left-hand side under this PC, there's an option for photo ID. And as you can see here, it's got a red X next to it, which tells us that photo ID directory is not connected. If you double click on that, it will prompt you for a password. Verify that the username is photo ID, and then the password is also photo ID, all lowercase. When you do that, it does log in, and you do see that it is now connected, no red X. If that red X is there, it means that it's not a capture picture. Once you log in, there are going to be patrons that are coming up to sign up for the Winners Rewards Club. To be able to do so, you need 2 things. One is their identification. Any state-issued identification or driver's license meets that requirement, or a passport card. International driver's license and passport books do not work. When they go to hand you their driver's license, inside a Casino Trac, under Players Club, you're going to click on Scan ID. When the WizForm scanner comes up, you'll take that driver's license, picture towards you more times than not, into the dipper and pulled out, immediately to the picture, and press the green button once. You will notice that all the data is filled out. Sometimes there is an error, so take a quick second to make sure that it is properly filled out. You can see that Derek here does have the correct addresses, driver's license, information. When you press the continue button, it asks to make sure that you scan the picture. I did, so we're going to press OK. The person's picture and information still shows up. This particular patron already has a club card, so we're going to be able to select his club card. They are new to a club. It does give you the option to make the ID. We just showed how a person that's already signed up gets re-enabled. To sign up a new Players Club card, once again, under the Players Club, we're going to click on Scan ID. We're going to take that ID, we're going to put it in, do our dip, press that scan button immediately, and we'll be able to click on continue. Press OK, we can see that the picture is taken, the person's name is scrolled up, and you'll see here where it says make new account. So after doing the scan, you're able to press the OK button. You'll see here that it does pop up saying that you're going to make a new account. After you press select, that new account is created. You're going to hand that driver's license back to the player. At this point in time, we have the picture, we've dipped their information, we have verified the basics. We need to go to the Edit Info button and we need to get their phone number from them. We also need to get their updated address, email address. Keep ensure that your phone number and your email address does not have any additional special characters except for your email address, the @ symbol, and the dot. When you're done with this, make sure to copy the phone number into the card list number now and press save. Every once in a while, players have locked themselves out of their accounts or they have forgotten their PINs. So to be able to reset their PINs, they're going to come up with an ID because we got to verify who they are. If their ID is on file, their picture on file, if it matches the person, does meet that criteria. When you pull up their accounts on the left-hand side here, there's the option for set PIN. You will press that button and you're going to allow them to enter their PIN into the account. Be aware it has to be them entering it. Us entering it can get us in trouble, so allow them to type. Once they enter in their PIN, PINs can be between 4 and 6 characters long. We do recommend 4. It's a lot easier on our PIN pads. They'll enter it, they'll press enter, they'll enter it again, and they press enter. It'll tell them it's been successful and close. Now, from a marketing standpoint, account maintenance is going to be very crucial. Whenever you're interacting with your guests, I know it can sometimes be cumbersome and kind of annoying, but we want to make sure that we have the correct information. Without correct information, we're not going to be able to market to them. We're not going to be able to give them free stuff. We give free stuff away in one of 4 different ways right now. 1, standard snail mail. So that's where you want to make sure that the address is correct. We also do sometimes limit the distance that we send offers to. So if they live out of market, which is by standard 120 miles, they're not always going to get off. So make sure that if they are living or they do produce an address that's more than 120 miles away, that we ask to see if they have something more local to make sure they can get the maximum benefit. 2, by phone call or phone number. We either do robocalls or we do text messages to that phone number, so make sure it is a textable phone number ideally. 3, email. We send out a lot of informational stuff, but occasionally we do send out freebies. Example thereof, this past weekend, we sent out an informational letting people know that the hot new games are getting 7 times points for the weekend. And the 4th is social media. We don't gather social media information, but informing them of our Facebook pages and Instagram pages will allow them to see what's going on with us and get freebies, once again, informing them of the 7 times points or free tickets or events that are coming up. To be able to update and verify this information when you do pull up the account, each and every time, slow down just that little bit, go to the edit info and verify the address, the city, the zip code, the states, phone number, and email address. Players, depending on their basis of play, do get tiered. The tiers range from 1 to 9, 1 being the best, 9 being either new or haven't been in a very long time. They haven't played. When you're on, there's 3 ways to see where the players are tiering at. First off is inside the system. When you pull up the account on the left-hand side, you will see the option for tier here. This particular player, our test account, is a tier 8. Obviously a tier 8 because they play very minimally. Test account, they don't come in very often. The second way is also at the system. Under hosts up here on the top, there's the option for the host map. The host map will show you your floor and lets you see where players are at and where they're tiering at. This can be very important because as you're looking through this, the thing that we need to do better at is converting untracked players to tracked players. So on this screen, you can see tier 3s, you can see tier 4s. These squares that are black but don't have that dot in the middle, those are untracked players that have the potential of becoming good players with us. So those are good ones to go out there and talk to and let them know what's going on. If you do hover over those accounts, it'll tell you the machine that they're at, what kind of game it is. The last, and I'll show you this later, is on the floor. As we're walking across the floor, players that are playing, their screen will change colors. We will show you this at a later point, but keep an eye out for those screens being black, blue, or gold. Next, let's talk about prizes. The big goal behind the Winners Club is giving our players prizes. Whether it's prizes in drawings, prizes from the direct mail, prizes from email or snail mail or text club, being able to give out free stuff is what everybody loves, right? So when you sign in, depending on the day of the week, depending on the promotion, the available prizes change. Keeping in mind that currently, today, free play is available Monday through Wednesdays with a blackout date on Thursdays, available Fridays and Saturdays, and a blackout date on Sundays. So today, being one of the available free play days, when we do pull up the players' accounts, in this case, we're gonna go to our test account again. When we scroll down, you'll first see all these different pages. Under promotion, you'll see what's available for the available promotion. Currently, we have bingo, which is a tracking prize. We use that to be able to see who goes into bingo, which bingos are more successful. They don't get free play or free stuff in this, strictly a tracking prize for that particular one. If we scroll down a little bit further, we see the Safe Cracker. This month, our Safe Crackers are prizes, and for the drawings, they can win up to $1,000 of free play every day of the week with a bonus of $2,000 on Fridays and Saturdays. We go down just a little bit further. The 04 prize or 03 prize for direct mail gives you the ability to get weekend free play, food bucks, Keno match play, or table match play. Very simply, by clicking on the icon in question, it will redeem their free play to their account. With Keno and table match play, these are slips that will be taken to the respective areas for either Keno or table, if that is available at your area. Right now, only at the Carson Nugget. So that's the basics of the player's side of the system. Next, the vault. The vault is going to be where the guest service ambassador goes to redeem Tito's, as well as the ability to redeem and award the jackpot. We're going to start off with Tito's. On the screen at the top under vault, you'll have the ability to go to the cashier ticket. Under the cashier ticket, you will click on the begin batch option. And when they bring you a Tito, you're going to scan that Tito to redeem that Tito and dispense the cash. Operations will go into further detail on how to handle the cash operation. Be sure that if you are cashing Tito's over $1,500 to involve a guest service supervisor, manager, or manager on duty to approve that transaction. At the end of your shift, you're going to click on the end batch option. It will pop up to your batches reports. You'll be able to make sure you're selecting your Winners Club printer and click on print. Next, hand pays. Hand pays come into a category of different things. Taxable jackpots, accumulated credits, as well as manual. A manual hand pay is required if the machine is down or not properly communicating with the system. This happens very rarely, but it is ideal to have the knowledge of how it works. To do a manual hand pay, it takes 3 people. It's going to take a supervisor, a attendant, and a confirmer. It has to be 3 separate people to comply with gaming. So hand pays come into a category of different items. We have taxable jackpots. Taxable jackpots are any single pay over $1,200, $1,200 or more. Accumulated credits, which is a series of smaller wins that total up to over $1,200, or manual. Manuals are important to understand, but they don't happen very often. Manuals occur when a slot machine isn't properly communicating, if the machine locks up or dies, along those lines. We're gonna start off with doing a manual so we can get one in here to test with. When you sign into the Winners Club screen, under Vault and Cashier Hand Pay Bank, we're gonna come over here to the Order Manual Hand Pay. So when you get to the Manual Hand Pay Bank, the quick field will work either by asset number or by game number. I recommend game because it's easier to remember than some of these long asset tags. The game number is the bank plus the game. So here we're going to go to 0114 and we press enter. Next, we will, on the same screen, be able to select jackpot. Jackpot is the term for over $1,200, or progressive. That is if it hits one of the progressive markers on the system. In this case, we are going to do a jackpot because we're over the $1,200 mark on this particular test. We're going to go to proceed to order. Next screen allows us to put in the information for what we're doing. First off is going to be the player's card number. If they are a player, we want to make sure we fill that in because it does attribute to their account. Next, it says PIN, but that is your casino track password, rather. Okay. Under the comments, you have to put why you're paying the manual. Testing for training. When you go to the hand pay total amounts, that is the total of the hand paid, not the residual credits that are going to be held after the hand pay is done. And we press place order. When you do that print, if you are qualified to print, it will print. If it does not print, that's where you need to get a supervisor in place to give you a print for this option. So once the manual is confirmed, the process from here out is going to be very similar to your manual or your jackpots or your accumulated credits. You're going to click on the requested serial number, and it's going to give you the screen here. If it did not print, this is where the supervisor, GSM, GSS, or director attributed, can put in their password and do a print for you. If it did print from here, if it is a taxable jackpot, you're going to do your update to the W2G. You have to start off with entering your password, and you're going to click the update W2G. On the W2G screen, the top box is for entering a social security number if they've won in the past. If they're brand new, they've never received a jackpot from us, that's not required, that's a search field. So in this case, the person I was searching for did not exist in the system. So we're gonna do our test user with an address of 507 North Carson Street. The next part to this is the withholdings. Some people like having their taxes withheld so that we don't have to worry at the end of this season. Some people will take the chance of being able to offset it. If they are requesting taxes, be aware that some states have taxes and some states don't. Nevada is a no income tax state, so state tax will always be 0. If they live in like California, they can opt to pay California taxes. Under the withhold federal, there is a number and then a drop down. On the drop down, you'll select either percentage or amount. So if they want 10%, you'll make sure it's under a percentage. If they want to take $500 out, you can do the amount. In this case, we're gonna do 10%. In order to be able to be paid your jackpot, we need 3 bits of information: your social security number, a driver's license, and an alternate ID. If you have an account with us, the account number works for your alternate ID. So in this case, a taxpayer ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. First ID is gonna be my driver's license. And then the second ID being the account number with the preceding routing number. Your player's cards have 2 parts to them. It's the routing, which is the site ID, 5071, 5072, 5073, 0001, 2, 3, or 4. You'll see the Carson Nugget starts off with 72 typically, Nevada Nugget 71, Delta 73, and the slot routes will be the 00s. This is a W2G because the person lives in the United States. If they are an international and they do live outside the United States, we get very few of those, I think 1 in the last 10 years. And make sure you select your 1042S. If it's a winning, like they want a car from a promotion, that becomes a 1099. So in this case, we're a W2G. 1042 is only required for internationals. Jackpot type typically is a slot jackpot for where you guys are gonna be. We hit calculate. You'll see it does a little quick flash. We do show form. From this form, we hit print. It'll print out 2 copies, one for the guest, one for the winner, and one for the casino. Make sure the casino gets the one with the signature on it. Once it's printed, it's been confirmed to print, you'll hit the X on the browser bar, which will get you back into Casino Trac. When you're back into Casino Trac, you're gonna scroll down, click back to bank. You're back to that little green screen. You're gonna select the serial number for that jackpot again. You're gonna go to the manual confirmation. You'll enter in your password, and you'll press manual confirm. After confirming it, you'll see that it does go to white, meaning that it's been confirmed. The one thing to understand is that when you are doing jackpots, if it does go over a $10,000 either accumulated credit or taxable, that $10,000 does require a supervisory override to print. On that green screen, you'll select the serial ID. You'll then select the supervisory print. The supervisor on duty, whether it's the GSS, GSM, or director, will enter their username, their password, and hit print. So one thing to know that when you're doing accumulated credits are multiple winnings that total over a machine lockable amount. Because they're accumulated, they are not taxable, and they are not required to have a W2G. When you're doing the request of hand pay at a slot machine, you will see where it says jackpot, or it says AC, accumulated credit. CC for accumulated credit, not accumulated, but accumulated credit. So if it says accumulated credits, no W2G, no taxes. If it says jackpot, that does become a taxable jackpot. There are a couple different promotions that Casino Trac has to offer: drawings, hot seats, and kiosk games. Hot seats are a way to draw people that are on the floor. The qualifier is very simple. It's going to be if you're playing and you have over a set dollar amount in coinage. When you go into Casino Trac, under Players Club, there is the option for hot seats. The defaults are already preset there. As long as you're not directed from a GSM or a director, you don't have to change anything on this selection. You'll simply click on the Pick Hot Seat button, and it's going to pick a random player on the floor that has been playing. It will print out the slip. It will also show on the screen who the winner was. Hot seats will allow the winner to win whatever we're giving away at this point in time. Right now we have hot seats for late nights, as well as our Thursday winners parties. One of the other promotions that can be done are drawing. The drawing is done through the manager kiosk screen. When you pull up the screen, you're going to sign in like you do normally with Casino Trac ID and password. So one of the options for Casino Trac is the ability to run a drawing. You're going to do that through the manager kiosk. When you go to the manager kiosk window, you're going to enter your username and your password, and you're going to press submit. When it does pop up, it gives you the listing of every drawing that you have available. By default, the selection is to select a scheduled drawing, so that way you can run it ahead of time, and that way it's ready to go when you're ready. For the Carson Nugget, for the current Safe Track drawing, we're selecting 5 winners. The next drawing is going to happen at 3:30. In order to be able to process paperwork, we give ourselves 3 minutes ahead of time. So you'll see that here I select 3:27 p.m. and select submit. This gets you to the point of running the drawing. At that mark, which is going to be in 1 hour and 6 minutes, it will end up appearing to be able to give you the ability to run that drawing. When you run your drawing, you're going to see here about a minute ahead of time it builds the drawing entries. In this case, we have 19,823 drawing entries into the drawing drum. Each person wins a drawing entry for every point that they earn. Except for on Mondays, currently we have a 7 times chances multiplier. So on Mondays from midnight to midnight, you're getting 7 times those entries. 1 point gets you 7 entries. Here in 18 seconds, that drawing drum will open and allow me to run. Now that that time has expired, the drawing activates. On the right-hand side, you will see where it says pick all winners. It does have the ability to potentially draw the same winner. This is due to the fact that they haven't been claimed as a winner yet. Here in this case, you can see that Gary Snyder got called 4 times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to publish the first one and claim, void the other 3, which will prevent Gary from being drawn again, and we're going to pick 3 new winners. Daryl 1, Doan 1, Mercer's a duplicate again, Sorry 1, and Myrna 1. Now that all 4 of those have been claimed, we can now run our drawing, calling them up and allowing them to win the prizes. And during Safecracker, up to $1,000, except for on Fridays, where they're going to win up to $2,000. The last thing that we're going to talk about here before we leave is going to be a kiosk game. Every once in a while, we choose to run a kiosk game. At the Delta, we're going to be starting off with running a new member scratch card. That's going to be in conjunction with these physical scratch cards that are done at the Carson Nugget and Nevada Nugget. The Carson Nugget and Nevada Nugget, we have our little scratch cards. Delta's going to have something similar to get the data. At the Delta, the scratch is going to occur electronically. Just like at the Carson Nugget, the Nevada Nugget, and Delta, they will all have the same odds to have the chance at winning $100 for signing up. With that said, we're going to go ahead and take a trip out to the floor. We're going to look at the kiosk games and cardless.